We will begin with Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, Mauricio.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Just curious, how much have you and Christian talked since the summer? Obviously there was a little bit of back and forth between the two of you. What kinds of discussions have you had? And then as a second question, when it comes to transfers, guys like Gio Reyna and Tim Weah, making moves, how much advice do you give them on a prospective move, whether it's a good idea with the World Cup so close, that kind of thing? Thank you.
You're welcome. No, we didn't talk with Christian. I think we nothing to talk. I think it's in behind us, all that happened in summer. And I think now we need to look on forward. I think we have a plan for every single player, and the plan for Christian now is to call and to see him in this camp. And of course, hope that he arrive in a good condition, fresh, I think good precision with Milan, with his team, and ready to compete. That is the most important thing. And then always is important when the players start to move from one club to another, Gio Reyna or Tim Weah, that maybe they didn't play too much last season or struggled to play. I think always is important for them to have the continuity to adapt to the new environment, the new club. Maybe a little bit different because I think Tim already start to play with Marseille. Gio arrived this week, but I think important that is a camp that I think is going to be the last camp to have the possibility for us to see players, new faces, and also with all the condition, insurance player that start the preseason late, player that move from one club to another. I think in all that consideration that we have a plan for every single player, I think we decide this roster with this all condition, special condition in this period of the season.
Next will be Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael, and hello, Mauricio. I wanted to ask about Josh Sargent. He's a player, obviously, that wasn't included this summer, and you said it was a soccer decision and went in a different direction, but you see how he's sort of responded to that with his start in the championship this season. What do you make of that response, and what are you sort of expecting for him now that he rejoins this team and has a chance to kind of show himself?
Yes, I need to clarify that still we don't still not have 1 year on charge, and it's not a normal team that you can work every single week, every single months, working really hard. I think we need to really understand every single player. We want to know in all the aspect when we call, when we didn't call, the reaction, how they show the character and the capacity to fight for a position on the national team. And this competition, I think, only can be positive for the final roster for the World Cup. That is why I think we add new faces in this roster, and I think it's fair that all the players that we are going to call or we were calling in the past have the possibility and the chance to show the quality and to convince us that they deserve to be in a place on the national team. That is in the way that we have and design the plan. That is the plan for us, and in every single aspect, I think in every single detail, we work really hard. We work in two different, aspects. One is in a collective way, another in an individual way, and that is, I think, it's important, and all this aspect to really, really care. And I think we are happy now. I think different players that they start to move, they really wanted to play and want to perform, and they want to compete and arrive to the World Cup with the possibility of competing to show that they deserve to be in the roster. And yes, I think looking forward for this camp, because it's going to be really nice to see not only the players that maybe they had the chance to be in the past, but also for new players that can perform and show us the possibility to fight for a place.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, Mauricio. This question is kind of similar to what you were just talking about, which is the strategy of this window. How much is it about seeing as many players as you can, but then also what kind of message are you sending, or what kind of message is there for players like, there's kind of two groups in my mind, players like Weston McKennie and Yunus Musa, who have been kind of bigger parts of the team starting in the last World Cup, but then also players like Aiden Morris and Tanner Tessman, who are also trying to break in, but maybe find themselves now behind guys like Sean Zawadzki or Jack McGlynn in the depth chart. Thank you.
Yes, for me, yes. No, for me, all the players are important. The individual situations I think are important, and to analyze and to take the decisions and to have the plan for them. I think is we have a roster 65 player that with this guy that are going to appear in the last roster now in this camp, that we are going to be under assessment every single week, and for us it's about for them to perform, and for us to select the best player to make, and to provide the roster the good balance. That is the most important, because sometimes if you see the teams with the possibility to compete and to perform and to get the result that you want, it's about to have a good balance on the team. It's true that it's going to be difficult, because when you manage 65 players on the end, to reduce to 26 is not easy, or like in that case for this camp 23. But it's important because we wanted to know, and we don't have too much time, because we start in last October, and now it's still not 1 year. And I think for us it's so important to give the chance to all the players. We really know this player that you were talking in the different camps in the past. We really know how they are, what can provide to the team. That is why I think we really know, and now the chances for different players in that position, like Sebastian Berhalter or Luca de la Torre or Zawadzki, or different players like this. I think it's important for us to assess and to give the chance in not only in the Gold Cup, if not now in a roster that is completely different, that is going to be a different competition. I think for us is also to assess them in this competition too. But for sure, all that are in a place to compete for the final roster on the World Cup. And like always I said, of course, it's my test, it's our test about to select the player, but also it's up to them to perform and to show that they are desperate to come to the national team. That's it.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Mauricio, thanks for doing this. Good to see you. Hope you had a good summer. Wanted to follow up on Weston McKennie specifically. He's not a guy who's coming off an injury. He's not a player that has switched clubs like a lot of your other players. Why did you decide specifically not to bring him in this window, and what does he have to do to be considered in the windows to come? Thanks.
I think we really know Weston. It's not necessary to call him to know. I think he's in a situation that arrived with the precision, because he was involved in the Club World Cup, and I think and now start the season last week in Italy. And I think for different reasons, I think we really know him, but we wanted to give the possibility to be more settled in his club and have the possibility to be in his best form. Like him, another player for sure, but that is not a situation that is new. I think for us, like him, different player, that like Johnny Cardoso also, that move and start to play with Atlético de Madrid, also is give time to them to adapt in a new environment for different players, different reason, but knowing that they need to perform. And then if they perform, for sure they're going to have the possibility. But no one have the place, sure, and that is that is my message for everyone that need to fight. Need to fight because that is an open system, and then we suffer in this summer a lot of injured players, and we need to be ready because maybe 1 week before to announce the roster for the World Cup, and maybe some problem arrive, and I think it's fair to have different player and know a different player with the possibility for them also to fight and to know that they have the possibility to be on the roster, and that is the moment to see different faces and to give different players the possibility, like I told you before, Sebastian or De La Torre or Zawoski, is to see, competing in this international, way with two important teams like Japan and Korea, and see how they react and how they deal with this type of competition.
We'll go to Thomas Floyd from the Washington Post.
Thank you for your time. I wanted to ask about the goalkeeper group specifically, both what you're hoping to see out of the players you called in and the decision making behind omitting Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, and Patrick Schulte. Thank you.
Look, also it's fair to give some possibilities to players that are performing and are player, no, and play well. I seen the situation of Matt that moved to New England to the MLS is important for him to start to play with continuity, and for us to see different option on the roster and the place on the keeper place, But that is what the most easy thing to explain. We want to see another player that we think that they deserve to be and have the possibility to show themselves. And then, of course, for Matt is about to work, or for Schulte to perform, and of course for Zach. And I think it's fair. For us, always is about to in our mind is to assess all the player that sometimes is difficult to see, but for us, I think we work really hard to try to be fair with everyone, and then to give the possibility to join us and to perform and to see if have the possibility to fight for a place.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael. And excuse me. Thank you, Mauricio, for the time.
You're welcome.
One of the things you've said over a number of months here, you've often spoken in the past about wanting the players who come into the camp to act like they're defending their spot on the roster instead of trying to prove something to you. And it makes me think about, we've talked about, there are a lot of players, obviously, who are not here, who could be here. What do they have to do you think, to show with their clubs that they ought to be here next time? I'll name Brendan Aronson and Mark McKenzie, but there are a lot of players. We've discussed a lot of them already. What do you want to see at the club level that shows you that they ought to be here next time, or November, or whatever? And then also, very quickly, you named 22 of the 23 today. What's the timeline for naming the 23rd? Thank you.
I think we have time in the next few days for sure. We will communicate the number 23, and I think it's going to be soon. And what they need to do, the players that are not in the roster, is to perform, is to keep pushing, and always is the same situation. No, it's only in this camp 23, and when you start to see the possibilities of the roster, or the possibility to the players that to join us, is plenty of player. But it's not because we are happy or not happy, or they do something wrong or no. I think sometimes it's about our tests, about, or the combination on the squad. And in that case, I think it's the last for me, and for us, it's the last opportunity to bring some new faces that we didn't have the possibility to bring in the past. And I think for different reasons, I think we really believe that this is the right decision, and that is our decision, is our test, our way to see that sport and to provide the balance to the squad. But I think the players they don't need to be worried. They need to perform. They need to really believe that can be part of the squad. And for sure, our job is to select the player. And how do you know? Every single coaching staff have different tests about to assess and to see the player and the way they want to play. And for sure, we want to be sure that we will select for the last roster in the World Cup the best player to project what we want on the pitch.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Mauricio, thank you for doing this. For the goalkeepers coming off the Gold Cup, do you, in your mind, have Matt Freese as your number one at this point, or is it still a wide open competition? And looking ahead to October and November, do you already have in mind some of the players who are not coming in for September, who, if not hurt, you anticipate you'll be bringing in October, November?
Yes, but at the moment it's open. I don't have the number one. We don't work in this way. We don't work with player A, player B, player C, list 1, list 2, list 3. I think we have plenty of respect, full respect to all the player and all the player that can be called from us. I think all need to feel that with the possibility to fight for a place. If we want to be a team really competitive, we cannot nominate, 13, 14, 16 player. This guy for sure are going to arrive to the World Cup. And the rest, they need few places to fight. Come on. That is not the real sport that for me I call football, but I now start to call soccer because I work for USA. And that is not real. When you see different national team that won World Cups, I think you really understand what means that. Players need to feel that the threat from your teammate, and they need to defend their place in every single possibility that you join the national team, but also when you perform in your team. And I think that is important thing that we not only we assess or judge when they are with us, if not when they are in their teams performing. And for different reason, our players struggle, in to perform and to play. If you see the last few weeks or the last few months, and hope that all our players step up and start to show our real quality and arrive in the last months before to compete, in the World Cup in their best form. That is why I think all these strategies that we have is to help them, to prepare to perform in their teams, and also to put us in a very difficult situation to select the player for the final roster.
Next will be Sanjay Sujanthakumar.
Thanks, Michael. Hola, Mauricio.
Hola.
Una pregunta sobre Gio Reyna. ¿Puedes hablar del traspaso de Gio a Borussia Mönchengladbach? ¿Qué piensas de eso? ¿Y qué quieres ver de Gio en Alemania para que él sea convocado de nuevo en el futuro? Gracias.
No, en español, ¿no? ¿Respondo
Sí.
o en inglés? En español.
Sí.
Muy contento. Espero que le vaya bien, que empiece a sentirse otra vez futbolista, porque un futbolista, para sentirse futbolista, para sentirse feliz es jugar. Y bueno, lo primero es eso, el deseo de que pueda sentirse feliz y empiece a disfrutar de su fútbol para que podamos nosotros tener la posibilidad de poder contar con él, ¿no?
Mauricio, would you mind answering in English also?
Okay, no, I am so happy because I think he's happy in this movement to Borussia. I think what we want is to see him happy. If he's happy, for sure he has the talent to perform. If he perform, I think it's going to be good for the national team, for us. And I think that is what we expect, and the hope that for him feel happy and start to feel again, no, that good feelings, because when a player is not playing, it's difficult to be happy, no, and to show your real talent.
Thank you. And we will continue with Charlie Bohm from MLSsoccer.com.
Gracias, profe, por su tiempo. Otro en español, si está bien. ¿Podrías hablarnos sobre su proceso de comparación entre jugadores de MLS y jugadores en europeos? ¿O es quizás la evaluación se centra en su rendimiento en los entrenamientos de la selección?
Bueno, yo lo que creo es que que tenemos que abrir otro debate a lo que existía, ¿no?, en el pasado. Creo que hoy la MLS es una liga muy competitiva, eh, que los clubes compiten de una manera muy buena, y que no hay nada que envidiar a las competiciones donde algunos de nuestros jugadores pueden estar participando en Europa. Quizás había una idea que antes los jugadores, para estar en la selección, tenían que estar en Europa, pero no creo que sea el caso. Para mí es una nueva era en la cual la comparación es a través del rendimiento que nosotros pensamos que pueden otorgar en la selección nacional. Y si lo digo en inglés, ¿no? También, I think for me, I think we need to open another, way to see the things. We need to give the MLS the value, because I think competing there, I think the player can show that they can perform in the national team. I think it's not necessary to move from MLS to Europe, because sometimes the MLS, under my assessment, maybe is more competitive than some leagues in Europe. Or we have some players maybe competing in different leagues that maybe are not so competitive, or in every single week compete in the same way that you compete in the MLS every single week. But that is my adjustment, and that is the way to see. That is why we don't used to compare. Oh, if you play in a team in Europe, you are above of the players that are in the MLS. That is not the way to assess the player. I think the possibility, because I think in one thing that we are good with the coaching staff is to see and to project the player, how they can perform with us. And then the most important thing is to provide the characteristics in the roster, the balance. You cannot bring, 23 offensive players, because it's difficult after to find the balance to defend in that phase. But also, if you bring defensive player, it's difficult after with the ball to play in the way that you want to play. That is why the balance is the most important, and the player need to understand that they need to perform in the best ways, and after, when they come to the national team, is to perform in the way that we want to perform. But that is in the way that we have the plan, or our strategies is, and in the way that we compare the players.
Next will be Henry Bushnell.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Mauricio. Thank you for your time.
Hi, hello.
When you were asked about Weston McKennie earlier, you said that you already know Weston. You also know Christian Pulisic. Did you consider not calling Christian into this camp? And how would you describe your relationship with Christian right now?
Why? No, but Henry, is a big difference. Weston was involved in in the Club World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
and Christian wasn't involved. That is a massive difference. I think Weston need time to prepare himself with the team, and it's important to be with his team fighting for a place. He didn't play last weekend, but that is not why we didn't call, but only is to give him the possibility on all the tools to fight for a place, to be every week on the pitch competing, because that is going to put him in his best form. And we don't want, because we know really well and we know his talent, we wanted to provide him the possibility in this camp. That is a camp that I explained. I think for us is the last camp that we are going to bring the new or add some new faces, and that is why. But Christian have the possibility to rest, to have a good rest in summer, and then start the season, the preseason, the season, and I think he's in a condition to come. I know we know him, but this is the possibility for him, because I think he can add his freshness and of course his quality, and that's it. I think is a massive difference, no?
Next will be Seth Vertelny.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks for the time, Mauricio. I wanted to ask about Nokai Banks. He's a player that doesn't have a lot of experience at the senior level, but obviously has a lot of potential. What have you seen from him that makes you think he's ready for this opportunity now at age 18?
It's a great opportunity to see, too. I think he's a young talent. I saw playing him in Germany, and he's a massive talent. And also, you never know how he can explode, and maybe on the end of the season can be the best, maybe the best central back in Europe or in Germany. And for us, like I explained before, it's a great opportunity to add new faces. And then we work for a legacy too. For us, it's difficult because we don't have time, to do too many changes, because we start less than 1 year ago and start to work, and you know that the conditions are not the best. But I think the possibility to bring Noah Banks and to see him and to give some the possibility to get experience, and then it's going to be a big boost for him. And then it's a legacy, because I think can be a really important player in a position that for every single national team is difficult to find, this type of profile of player. And I think for us it's important, for us and for him, now to discover a different level of competition, and it's going to be good to assess him with us.
We will take two more questions and continue with Hard Joel.
Thanks, Michael. Maurizio, I'm wondering, what have you seen from Tristan Blackman to call Tristan up? And I know Jesse Marsh was talking to him, Canada. Did Canada play a factor? Because I know they had discussions with Tristan Blackman as well.
I don't hear. I didn't hear, sorry, the question, Michael.
The question was about Tristan Blackman, what you see in him, and also she said that
Tristan Blackman.
Tristan Blackman, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, what she said.
What did you seen from Tristan that he earned the call up? She also mentioned that Canada had been potentially considering him too.
I don't know that. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if they were talking or not about Canada, but I think was one of the players that we were chasing and we were assessing in from the day that we start to work in that federation, in the national team. And I think now is a possibility to call and see. I think he's doing a fantastic season and have the characteristics to fight for a place. But first of all, we want to see him, want to see how he is, his characteristics, how he can deal being involved in the national team. I think he's have a good character. We have the possibility to talk with his coach, and he was very, really, really positive about him. And always, like in the past, we talk about the coach of Orlando that we were talking and how they were helping about to Alex Friedman, or now Jesper talking about different players. I think to have this contact with all the MLS teams and coaching staff and the coaches, and I really appreciate that. And I want to say thank you to all the coaches and all the clubs that really are very, supportive with us. My coaching staff is traveling a lot, and I am in contact by phone. And in the way that they welcome us is so grateful. I am so grateful with all the coaches, that to be very open, and the possibility to talk about how they see the player, how they assess the player. For us, as I think, is an information that is priceless for us, and that is why I think Tristan, I think deserve to be and have the possibility to show and fight for a possibility to say I am here. I want to be part of this national team. I want to play. I want to fight for a place, and of course we are going to give the possibility. I think is fair enough.
And we'll finish with David de Guzman.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mauricio. I wanted to ask about the Columbus Crew players. You talked a little bit about Patrick Schulte earlier. Did his injury play a role in why he was left off of this window? And then, of course, with Max, how did his Gold Cup performance play a role in him getting on the team? And if you want to talk about Sean as well.
I didn't understand about who? The last one?
About the Columbus players, Max and Sean.
Okay.
With Patrick.
Yeah, Sean. We wanted to see Sean in the Gold Cup, but he was injured, and now it's a massive possibility for him to join us. And I think he deserves to be with us, because it's a position that can play midfielder, but also play central back. I think in different positions, and always, how he's so important for every single coaching staff, a player that with this capacity to play in different positions. And then, of course, Max is a player that is performing really well, and I think it's a player that we really, really are so happy with him. And then Patrick was struggling a little bit with different, situation, but always he was a player that we were so happy when he was with us. We really know him. We really know Zach also. But now it's a possibility to see two different players, two different keepers, to see also, and to give the possibility to also to be there and to fight for the place. We are very, open about that, and I think, look, the important thing now is the possibility that the player they need to perform, because the way to build, in the way that to work all together and to know each other and to see, and the possibility to work in a process with time, that was the Gold Cup. But for different reasons, happened what happened. But now is a moment also for to have different players, because we are not going to have the time to be too much, or have the possibility to train too much. It's only to prepare 2 games and to play. And see how they really deal with the competition. Now is not a moment to build a group or to work in different aspects that sometimes people is focused. Now is focusing about that they need to know that they need to perform, and they need to do what they need to do to be in our focus. And now after, for us to select the best player to play in the World Cup. And look, now it's about that. It's not to talk about things that are not important. We really know what means that sport. We have experience, we have the quality and the capacity to see and to detect and to analyze and to judge and to create the best plan to arrive in the best condition. Now it's up to the player. It's not. We want to have the best player to compete in the best way in the World Cup, and for sure we are going to arrive with the best roster compete. And then, like always in football, it's about the different factors that you can win or you can lose. But for sure, we are going to arrive in the best condition.
Thank you, Mauricio, and thank you everyone for joining
You're welcome.
today.